Amanda the Adventurer, a series that, on my channel at least, should need no introduction. A couple of years ago now, I took a look at the first game, and I was extremely impressed by its ability to, essentially, bring the point-and-click genre into a 3D space, compelling me to engage with a puzzle game in ways that I wouldn't typically feel drawn to. With an incredible ambiance, memorable characters, engaging writing, and puzzles that felt perfectly fit to purpose, it was a title that I felt accomplished everything it set out to do. And then they made a sequel. It's safe to say that Amanda the Adventurer 2 did not click with me like the first game did. In fact, I distinctly remember calling it something along the lines of cash grab indie horror chapter game slop. While it continued the story in a couple of interesting ways and did succeed at providing more of the aforementioned incredible ambiance, it was essentially a buggy mess, ditching the first game's knowledge-based progression for some weird A-track and B-track scheme, introducing convoluted context-based puzzles that were way too difficult to solve, and ending on a completely undeserved cliffhanger that I found to be, frankly, offensive. Today though, I hope to be able to put all of that behind us, because Amanda the Adventurer 3 has finally released. Promising to provide a satisfying finale to the ATA saga, this game is being touted as the conclusion to a trilogy, and as ever, I'm more than prepared to dive in headfirst and open-minded, so I can give you my official take on Amanda the Adventurer 3. Amanda the Adventurer 3 starts out with a self-described prequel wherein you play as some guy and have to complete a scavenger hunt in some kind of highly secured facility that looks like something out of Alien before being subsequently apprehended by security. Cut to the present day and we can finally pick up where we left off in the last game, once again taking control of Riley as she escapes through a secret hatch in the library and finds herself in the exact same highly secure facility we just left. We've stumbled into the now abandoned underground headquarters of Hamlin Entertainment, producer of the titular Amanda the Adventurer TV show. In universe, Amanda the Adventurer is still an interactive educational children's TV series starring Amanda and her animal companion, Wooly the sheep. This game follows the same formula as the previous two. Your goal is simply to progress the story by watching episodes of the show and using the clues contained within to solve puzzles in your environment. Speaking of which, in the previous entries, the environment has been a huge draw for me. I've spent plenty of time lauding the attic from the first title and its incredible ambiance, and while I did have some issues with the size of the Kinsdale Public Library, it was still an extremely enjoyable space to spend time in. The Hamlin headquarters then, generally speaking, feels like a pretty worthy follow-up. While admittedly it is a little bit more cold and unwelcoming than where we were hanging out before, exploring the main office was still pleasant and appropriately atmospheric. It definitely feels like you're not supposed to be there. As we explore the Hamlin facility, we actually get to take a look at some mid-production tapes that aren't completely finished, which is an interesting concept. Last time around, inside the tapes, we got to see a much more sullen and reflective side of Amanda, and this continues in the third installment, albeit in a slightly different form. Throughout the episodes, it seems like Amanda is beginning to remember snippets of her past life, something that Wooly in particular seems dead set on preventing. Naturally then, it becomes our role to help her put the pieces together, by solving puzzles in the real world as we jump through episodes and visit new locations. One of my favorite elements of the first game was the way that it handled its puzzles. I'm on record as not being particularly good at anything puzzle related, so I appreciated that the original ATA was, generally speaking, pretty easy, or at least easy enough for me to figure it out myself without the help of any guides. By contrast, I spent an extended period of time ranting about the increased relative difficulty of ATA 2. Not only were the puzzles generally much harder, but many of them just felt nonsensical, the kind of situation where even after you know the solution, it doesn't really make all that much sense. I struggled as the developers changed the combination of locks on me mid-playthrough, and ultimately limped my way through solving everything without feeling particularly accomplished. I'm happy to report then that ATA 3 handles its puzzles much more satisfactorily. They aren't necessarily anything special, but at the very least they stood out as creative and made me feel at least slightly clever for being able to solve them. The idea of using storyboards to change the direction of unfinished episodes in particular is a notably gratifying concept, and I really like trying to figure out what to feed these Amanda the Adventurer 2 enjoyers based on the limited context clues. I will say though that I kept getting tripped up by this door in the hallway. Every time I encountered a new set of numbers, I thought I was going to be able to open it, which kept tripping me up and throwing me off track. You don't actually get to open it as part of the story, which is a little weird, but we'll talk about that more in a bit. You do, however, eventually get to explore more of the facility, and unlock an elevator that takes you down to what appears to be some sort of secret underground chapel. This is the first time we've ever seen anything like this in one of these games, and I actually really liked it. While I enjoyed how densely packed the attic was, I'm also able to appreciate the idea of just introducing a new area to keep puzzles fresh. and its design reminds me of Spooky's Jumpscare Mansion in the best way possible. As mentioned previously, your primary objective as you explore the tapes is to help Amanda remember and piece together the fragments of her previous life. As you succeed in doing this, you also have the opportunity to piece together the identity of Wooly, and he doesn't like any of it at all. At this point, we've basically done a full 180 from the dynamic established in the original title, with Amanda now serving as the more amiable and inquisitive, if still sarcastic one, and Wooly having more or less completely dropped his mild-manner handler role and devolved into a mix of existential angst and pointed frustration. I definitely like this opportunity to further explore the characters, and the back and forth between them and the player is still really enjoyable, something they've done a good job of maintaining across all entries. As you continue to watch the tapes, navigate the facility, and evade Project Shepherd, the terrifying sheep monster that killed Joanne, you'll eventually gather all of the information you need to perform a ritual revealing the location of Rebecca Colton's body, who we've learned is the true identity of Amanda. Freeing her from her stasis chamber, what happens next will depend on what kind of ending you unlocked. The standard ending sees Project Shepherd and the Amanda monster fling themselves into a seemingly bottomless pit, allowing the player to escape with Rebecca, but with the knowledge that a piece of her soul will always be trapped within the show. If you took the time during your playthrough, though, to track down all 4 of the mysterious hidden tapes, a lore-related stretch goal returning from previous entries, Rebecca will have the strength to destroy the final VHS, banishing the Colton anomaly and freeing Amanda's soul once and for all. Your final reward for the good ending is a clip from the original live-action run of the show, which is honestly pretty cool. And it's also where we wrap up Amanda the Adventurer 3. I feel like this is a pretty solid conclusion. There are certainly some parts of it that feel a little convoluted, and it's not like I would consider it high art or anything, but as a send-off to the franchise intending to wrap up loose ends, I feel like it stuck the landing. If you want to 100% Amanda the Adventurer 3, there are a handful of achievements you'll need to be on the lookout for during your playthrough. Most of them, as usual, just come from completing the story, but there are a couple of fun ones, like putting the fish in a blender, and a couple that will make you think, like delivering each kid in the stasis room, all of whom just die, by the way. There are like a ton of other kids in the show, and they all die, except Rebecca, but anyway, delivering them their favorite food before they die. Something you don't get an achievement for, weirdly, is opening the secret door. Yeah, remember how I said you don't open it during the story? Well, it turns out you actually just need a code from the second game to get in, which I'm not entirely sure how I feel about. It's just a cool little lore area though, so it really isn't a big deal. The only one I actually had any trouble with was the Blabot one. They put this note on him this time around to dial 91111 if you need help, which is intended as a way to nudge you in the right direction if you get stuck on a puzzle. It's a band-aid solution, obviously, but it's better than whatever they had going on in the last game, so it's fine. They don't really make it clear what this does though, it's just an intriguing note, so if you follow it without looking at the achievement list first, unbeknownst to you, you'll be locked out of one of them, and have to do an entire second playthrough just to get 100%. Even with an extra playthrough though, it only took me about 6 hours to 100% complete Amanda the Adventurer 3, which I appreciate, seeing as how the second game only took so long to finish by virtue of being a buggy mess. I had a pretty decent evening with this game, and really, I feel like that's all I could ask for. I think it's pretty clear that the first entry in this series was lightning in a bottle that they were pretty unlikely to ever fully recreate, but at least the third entry managed to be inoffensive. If you only ever played the first title, you're probably safe to stick with that, but if you've already played the second, you might as well see the franchise through, and check out Amanda the Adventurer 3. I'm pleased to finally have the entire series on my list of 100% completed games. And I'm pleased that you made it to the end of the video. I tried not to ramble on too much in this one, I didn't have as much to say, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I would appreciate it if you could leave a like, get subscribed so you never miss a future video, and importantly, drop a comment down below letting me know what you think. Have you ever played any of these games yourself, or is this just a YouTube series for you? Let me know. Lastly, remember you can check out any of my social media in the comment section below, along with any of the music that I used in this video. That's all I have for you this time, so I hope to see you in the next one. And as always, thanks for watching.